South Boston at the Artists for Humanity space, celebrating the 2011 release of Georges DuBoeuf's Beaujolais Nouveau. I'm here with Tom Steffanci, the president of Deutsch, the importer of Beaujolais wine. We're celebrating the 2011 Beaujolais Nouveau release here in Boston. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. What's the difference between Beaujolais Nouveau and a Beaujolais Village, for example?
So Nouveau literally means new in French, and the Beaujolais Nouveau is the newest wine of the vintage. So by law in France, Beaujolais Nouveau cannot be released for consumption until 1 minute after midnight on the third Thursday in November. So today's the first legal day that we can drink the Georges DuBoeuf Beaujolais Nouveau, and that's the difference. It is released at the earliest possible stage versus Beaujolais in general, which would have more time aging, and some would see time aged in oak barrels. But this is the freshest and first wine of the vintage.
And this year's label is so cool. It's graffiti inspired. Can you tell me a little bit about the artist behind it?
Yeah, every year we create a different label. So Georges DuBoeuf is the constant, that's the brand, but the Nouveau label changes dramatically every year. And this year we really wanted to push the envelope a little bit more in trying to reach a broad audience, but in particular this 21 to 30-year-old millennial audience, people who are maybe just getting introduced to wine, and we wanted to speak to that group with a label that was edgy and interesting. So we partnered with an artist named Mr. Caves, who started out as a Brooklyn-raised graffiti artist. And I probably didn't call it art when he got started. It was just his version of expression. And he went from the medium of graffiti into tattoo art. He also is a musician and has a rap band. And we really loved his art, and we thought that he would be somebody that could help inspire a label. And when we spoke to him, he loved the idea and very quickly came up with this idea about live and love, which he saw closely connected with wine. So it's really been great. We wanted to do something that our consumers would see as bold and unconventional, and the response has been great.
And it inspires this party-like atmosphere that we have here.
It does. That's one of the great things about Beaujolais Nouveau in trying to break some of the pretension of wine.
Right.
I mean, this is a wine that you can enjoy the way you would enjoy a cocktail. So we're having 100 parties in the U.S. today, and there are thousands of parties going on all over the world.
So I'm here with Tyler from Second Glass. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us.
Yeah, of course.
So can you tell me a little bit about the Second Glass, what you guys do, kind of your background, your involvement with this?
Yeah, our whole thing is like we want to help connect wineries with young consumers.
Cool.
Basically what we found was that there's all these young people like us that have questions about wine, and the surprising thing is that wineries actually have all the answers.
Right.
So what we do is we get people together, both in person and then we also use technology.
So how did you guys get involved with that event? You've done it in years past?
Yeah, we did the Beaujolais Nouveau event last year when they had a circus theme, and we put together a really cool event. We had like circus performers and acrobats.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was super awesome. So basically, Georges DuBoeuf really liked what they saw, and they're like, okay, cool, let's do it bigger. And so that's what we're doing here, is we're throwing an even bigger one.
So one of the great things about Beaujolais Nouveau is it's simple and it's easy and it's approachable. So I think sometimes we intimidate consumers with this whole different language that wine people use. This is real simple. It's really fruity, it's really fresh, and it's light and lovely. And that's what the wine is.
Now, for those who know Beaujolais Nouveau, the 2009 vintage was really highly regarded. Now, how would you rate this vintage against that?
So what's interesting is Nouveau really gives us the first look at the vintage. So today, like everybody else, I just tasted it for the first time. So it is early to make a determination, but the 2009 vintage, some have said, is the greatest vintage ever from Beaujolais. 10 was a good vintage, better than average. In my opinion, 11 is better than 10 and quite close to 9. I still think 9 was a defining vintage, but I really liked what I tasted. Have you tasted it yet?
I haven't.
Well, you'll get the chance soon, and I think it is in the same league with 09. It's really going to be a good vintage.
So what I love about this wine is some people consider it like a soda pop wine. It's super fruity and easy to drink. It has a lot of red berries on the nose, and it's not very tannic. It doesn't have a ton of acidity. So it's great to drink by itself, or you can drink it with any sort of meat or side.